Welcome to Off the Cut, a podcast where we talk about building, making,
and answering all of your questions.
I'm Eric from Spenceley Design Co.
And I'm Zach from Zach Builds. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on air, you can send it to offthecutpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find both of us on YouTube, Instagram, and unfortunately, because we have to keep up with kids, you can find us on TikTok too.
All right, now let's get into the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the episode of Off the Cut podcast that you've eagerly been awaiting for well over a year.
We
episode
did it.
69.
We made it. We're here.
Nice.
65 was nice because we got to retire at 65, but 69 is even nicer.
Hold on, I got some more stuff to do. We're up in Toronto. Today is not known as Tuesday, June 13th, 2023.
True.
Because we are a professional podcast, unlike the Green Suiters podcast, and we can plan ahead when we have prior engagements.
Mm-hmm.
So today is instead known as Monday, June 12th, 2023. But here in Ohio, today is respectfully dedicated to the food of the day, falafel.
Oh, I had some falafel the other day.
I love a good falafel.
What's the food truck situation in Ohio?
It's pretty solid.
It's okay, solid. Because in Toronto, there is some horrendous law that makes it basically impossible to operate a food truck. I think the law is you can't be on public property with your food truck. So
Really?
it kind of, it's insane, right? So the practical outcome is that there's basically no food trucks anywhere in Toronto. However, there is one that operates down the street from me, and it's in the parking lot of a mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's classy. It's a classy place. But I went there the other day, and I had a nice little... It was like a shawarma dish that was like deconstructed on top of fries.
Oh.
Very good, considering that it came out of a sliding window in the side of a shipping container.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So would you say that's like a Middle Eastern poutine?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
It was funny. So I had to do this math. It's so the neighborhood of Toronto that I live in is colloquially referred to as Little India. There's a lot of Indian restaurants around here. So it was actually Indian food. And when I was up there at the thing ordering, he was like, "Do you want it spicy or do you want it mild?" And I was like, and then I was like, "Ooh, no, you're talking to a real Indian person here, Zach. Dial it back." I was like, "No, give me the mild one." Because like at normal restaurants, I go for the spicy stuff. But if I'm talking to like a legit Indian person who's making Indian cuisine, then I'm a little bit more concerned. Then I'm not quite as freewheeling with it. Oh yeah, just give me the spicy version.
Right. Like you're like me, where like if you're going to go get buffalo wings and they had a scale of 1 to 10.
Yes.
I would be fine eating number 9.
Yeah.
I could eat number 10, but I wouldn't enjoy it. But like my sweet spot is probably like a 7 to an 8, where I get like the heat and the flavor.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to Indian food or something like that, I'm probably going to err on like a 5 out of 10.
I might even go lower.
Right.
Honestly, like I have had some Indian food that was truly spicy before. It was like the type of spicy that ruined the rest of my night because it's just like I couldn't get that taste out of my mouth.
Oh yeah, like you can't even finish your food. You're like, "Is this hot?" And then like you touch it with your finger, and you're like, "Oh no, it's stone cold."
Yeah, yeah. Your just tears are pouring out of you as you're eating.
But if you're with friends, you got to be like, "No, it's great. I'm just really hot. I'm just
yeah. Oh, it's fine. I have the horrible physical quirk of that if I eat too much spicy food, then I get the hiccups.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's it's
is that
embarrassing.
is that like a normal thing? Spicy food gives hiccups.
I don't know. I've never met another person like this, but it could be.
It says that chili peppers, the thing that makes them hot, as we know, is capsaicin. It's like the chemical inside them. Capsaicin, which can activate neurons in the diaphragm, causes the diaphragm to contract, producing hiccups. So it is common.
Okay. All right, cool. At least I'm not alone. It's nice to know that, little bit of company in this lonely universe. There's also people who sneeze if they look directly at the sun or bright lights in general.
Ooh, so it's not just like if I look straight at a light, I'm just like, ooh, instantly sneeze. But like, if you have that feeling of like, oh gosh, one's coming on, then if I look at a light, I do sneeze like 90% of the time.
Interesting. I'll have to remember that next time I feel like a little bit of a sneeze coming on. You know, those ones that are like, it's like this might go and it might not go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So next time I have one of those, I'll turn and look directly at a bright light.
The sneeze catalyst, if you will.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
For all those chemists out there. But since we both love falafel, I think we owe it to the people that don't know, because I think there are a lot. I don't think any of my friends know what falafel is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good point.
So how would you describe falafel to somebody in like the most basic of senses?
It's kind of like a savory chickpea pancake.
Okay.
Is it chickpea? Is that what the base is? I actually don't even know. I've ate like a million falafels in my life, but
yeah,
I think
so.
Yeah,
I would describe it as a Middle Eastern hush puppy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like the size of a golf ball. It's deep fried, has like a like a fried, crunchy outside, and then the inside is like really soft, almost kind of like a donut, like a hush puppy. But it's going to throw you off because the insides are usually green from all like the different seasonings and stuff like that. But I think it's a pretty approachable thing. I don't think it's too wild of flavor.
No, yeah. As far as Middle Eastern cuisine goes and Indian cuisine goes, it's pretty tame.
Right.
It's good though.
Right.
Like especially if you get one that's like fried nicely and you get the good consistency inside, you get the crunch on the outside. It's pretty yummy.
Now I want some Indian food now.
Yeah, well, you got to come visit me here in Toronto because I live like within. I could throw a stone in basically any direction and hit an Indian restaurant.
That's what I love about the area so much. It's like you have a huge melting pot of like food and whatnot because there's so many different cultures right up in the Toronto area.
Yeah, the only thing that Toronto doesn't really do that well, and I might offend some people with this statement, it's not very good Mexican food here. I find every time I travel to the US, I get much better Mexican food.
So I think it's interesting that you bring up Mexican food because I think Mexican food, and hear me out on this,
okay,
is similar to pizza. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is you can have a really, really bad pizza and still have it be a great pizza, like a gutter pie.
Yes, correct.
The same thing with Mexican. Like you can go to some high-end fancy Mexican place where they've got like all the ingredients like perfectly like stacked up on this like enchilada, or you can just go to just a bottom of the barrel, sloppy Mexican food restaurant where it doesn't matter what you order. It's basically all the same. And it's still fantastic experience.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The floor for quality is actually quite high with Mexican food.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's because it's, it's usually just beans, beef, and then some sort of tortilla, right? And it's like, that's yummy no matter which way you put it together. A little bit of melted cheese, good to go.
I would say what sets the bar for a Mexican restaurant when you walk in. One, if I have to pay for chips and salsa, I'm out.
Yeah.
Garbage.
That's a free perk. That has to be a free perk.
Right. You should be at any Mexican restaurant, there should be complimentary chips and salsa. And just build it into the price of your food. It's like free shipping.
Yeah. Oh man. I just ordered some IKEA stuff for the house. IKEA still charges you for shipping. It's still like an added thing at the end of the checkout process.
Is it really?
Yeah. They're like the only big company that's not doing free shipping. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. I want to. Well, now you make me think. I ordered something from IKEA not too long ago. Shocker, woodworkers ordering things from IKEA.
Yeah. So I got some cabinets, some like wall mounted cabinets, and then like a little, I don't know, like little sideboard-y type thing. My thing with IKEA is that it's a good stopgap. We moved into this new place. We don't have enough furniture to really truly fill it out. So rather than just living like savages where we have, boxes piled up on the floor, I bought a bunch of like just kind of basic stuff from IKEA. And my plan is to use that until I can make my own custom thing.
Great.
Then, IKEA stuff it's so ubiquitous that it's like, it's liquid. It might as well be money. You can just sell it on Facebook Marketplace or something. And everybody knows exactly what it is. All the measurements are there online. So it's like, I'm not worried about not being able to unload it afterwards too. So yeah.
And even if you unload it for half off and somebody's going to be thrilled to pick it up, like
Exactly.
So how many, I don't know anything about these cabinets. How many cabinets did you buy?
In total, I bought 7, I guess.
And are these like a standard kitchen upper, like a 16, 18-inch deep?
No, they're not that. I think they're 8 inches deep. So there's a set of uppers, 2 uppers with some glass doors, and then 2 lower cabinets with a like kind of like a bar, like a top on them. Come on, like a countertop on them.
Okay.
And so basically, we're gonna use it kind of like a hutch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet after delivery and tax, it was under $800.
It was actually pretty much exactly $800 Canadian, though, mind you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like,
I couldn't even buy the plywood to do it for that
No.
much money. So,
how many sheets of ply would you assume that would be? At least
3 or 4, something like
Right.
that. Yeah.
And a sheet of plywood's anything decent around here is $150, $200 a sheet.
Same thing.
Plus, then you got to get hardware.
Yep.
That's at least another $150 in hardware.
And
Yeah,
then like these have like glass doors on them too. So
Oh, yeah. Forget about it.
exactly.
And I guarantee you can sell that for at least $300-400 easy.
Exactly. In like 2-3 years or whatever, when I finally get around to making my own.
Do you enjoy making cabinetry at all?
Not really.
No.
It's, you know what? Sometimes I do. I enjoy the planning aspect of it, like thinking out, like, "Ooh, I'm gonna make this cabinet this big. Oh, this door here is gonna be specifically for this thing." So it's all like very customized. But the actual act of making it, I could take it or leave it.
It's very repetitive, right?
Yeah, you're doing a lot of the same cuts over and over again on the table saw, right?
And it's still like, I mean, let's be real. Whipping around full sheets of plywood, like we're not set up for that.
No, not at all. I'm usually breaking it down into smaller pieces with the track saw, then taking it over to the table saw and cutting it down.
That's one of those things. Ooh, would you rather have like a panel saw like they have at Home Depot, or would you rather have like a sliding table saw that can hold a full sheet of plywood?
Oh, I might actually. Good question.
Space is no constraint, nor money. Just what do you think operationally you would get more use out of?
I think I might get more use of the panel saw.
Really?
I don't know. Like, I have a hard time imagining myself because here's how I imagine the panel saw working. I buy a sheet of plywood, I bring it into the shop, I throw it on that right away, and I'm just kind of quickly breaking it down into like 4 or 5 smaller pieces. And then I dial the actual measurements or like the actual cuts in on the table saw. Rough cut everything on the panel saw, finish cuts on the table saw.
But if you have a sliding table saw, you can just get table saw quality cuts right there.
It's true, but the sliding table saws, like, I've never seen like a really, really big one. Maybe I should look one of those
Dude,
up.
they're monstrous. They're very common in Europe.
Are they?
Or like strictly cabinet shops.
Maybe I would prefer that then.
Because you can still use it as a standard table saw as well. It just happens to have that like massive side wing thing that holds like, probably depending on the size one you get, probably 12-foot long boards.
Yeah. Wouldn't that? I just imagine that'd be like the first cut with a full sheet, that might still be a pain in the ass.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'd love to try one out. Yeah.
I think Jason Bent just got one.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
head over to his shop, see what he's got going
I'm
on.
gonna drive over to Indiana. I've got his address. If anybody wants it, just send me a DM. I'll send you his address and his
There you go.
social security number and everything like that.
Two things I want to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
Both. Let's do the first one is I was talking to my contact at Inventables, and they have an update coming out where that's for the X-Carve that's supposed to make cabinet making a lot easier. So I haven't seen the software yet, but I think the way it works is you kind of punch in the size of the box you want and then put in a 4x4 piece of plywood, and it just whips out all the cuts for you.
Yeah, I know that what's the one that J Katz has, the aluminum extrusion one. It starts with
the
an
Avid?
A. Yeah. I was gonna say Axis, but the Avid. I don't know if it's specific to that CNC, but I know there's like a cabinet making software that does exactly what you're talking about, and it even pre-drills all of the holes for like your drawer slides and your hinge cups,
That would be
everything
sweet.
like that. So if
That
the
would be
X-Carve
sweet.
Pro software can do that, that's a game changer.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk to them and see if I can get myself inserted into the beta for it. We'll see.
Oh yeah. That's exciting.
And then the other thing is kind of CNC related that I saw today. Shaper Sean actually sent it to me. I see you wearing the Shaper t-shirt there.
Ooh, I love this shirt. I have no affiliation with them. It's just a super
sure.
comfy shirt.
Yeah. Shill away, buddy. No, they came out with this like frame that you put over something that you want to scan. And so it's like a 12 by 12 frame. You put it
Yeah.
over it, you point your phone at it, and it creates an SVG or like a carve file just from your phone. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's really neat.
Is that released yet?
No, it's again one of these things that's in the beta.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, I said to Sean, I was like, do you need anybody to beta test this thing? Because if so, I'm your guy.
Right. Yeah, that's incredible.
But
I
so
thought you were talking about the Shaper plate, like the little thingy that has the window that you can plop anywhere. Now you can like remember like the same carve wherever you put it.
Yeah, so the example they showed on their Instagram page was like an artist signing their name on a piece of paper. He then takes this frame, puts the frame over the signature, points his phone at the frame, and it just immediately grabs his signature. He then goes over to his shaper, and he then immediately carves his signature into a piece of wood.
That is nuts.
Yeah. So I was thinking, yeah, it's cool for something like that, but there's like I think if I could play around with it, there would be a lot of different applications I could dream up for something like that.
So what's the play with it here? And let me explain my question further.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a Shaper Origin. Neither do I.
No.
Why do they want to give out the software ability to do that doesn't then lock you into using the Shaper Origin?
That's a good question.
You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, totally. I don't know. Maybe you have to pay like a fee to use that software. It's a good question because even in their example on Instagram, they had the guy using their frame to photograph it, and then he plugged it. He did one, I think, with the Shaper, and then he also did one with the X-Carve.
Interesting.
So clearly they're making like this is cross-compatible play. Maybe the frame itself is going to be $1 million or something like that. But yeah, it seems interesting not to use that as a funnel to have people buy Shapers.
And see, that's kind of what I'm imagining. Is it's just maybe it's like it will allow you to use it, but like only to a certain extent or something like that.
Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
Basically, for everybody who doesn't know, they're like thinking like, oh yeah, whatever. You just take a photo and then you carve it. Like you can do that already. No. The workflow that you'd have to do now is take a photo of something. you'd have to import it into probably Adobe Illustrator, right?
Yep. Exactly.
You would then have to warp the photo that you took so that it was a completely horizontal plane and things were correct. Then you would have to go and basically create paths around all of the different lines and whatnot.
Yes. By
like,
hand, you would have to like put a little dot at every single vertex anywhere in the image. And that's like if it's a square image. God help you if it's round or something, right?
And I mean, that's going to take you, even if you're fast, that's going to take a minimum 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Even if, that's
if you're
optimistic.
real good.
Yeah. Especially for something like a signature, because you're like trying to get like all this nuance and the curves and stuff like that. It would be very time consuming to do it manually.
Right. And the fact that you can just go take picture, and I'm sure, how long did it take? Did you test it out yet?
No, I haven't tested it. I literally just saw the video of somebody else using it. So it's unclear how long it takes, using their software.
Right. So I looked online, the Shaper plate, which is the little thing that has like the cutout that you then put the Shaper origin on it, and you can basically not have to put down like the tape and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's $375 US. So I'm imagining that frame is probably moderately comparable.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, in the
300 to 500 range, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean it's not released yet, so I think they said it's on Kickstarter. Actually, let me see, Shaper Kickstarter.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, if Sean or Russ or any of the other guys from Shaper listening, we'd love to test one out.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know how they do it is they give loaners and then just don't ask for them back.
Oh, that's their system, eh? Interesting, interesting. Huh.
Did you find it?
No, I'm not finding it right now. Shaper Origin Kickstarter. Does Origin refer to, is that the name of the company?
Shaper is the company. Origin is the model.
Is the model. Okay, so I shouldn't have. Huh.
Oh, you know what's interesting when I Googled that? Sorry, I don't mean to derail the Shaper Origin conversation. Please, if you find it, let me know.
I will.
The first thing that came up was a Kickstarter for this machine called the Goliath CNC.
I saw that exact same thing. It's like a floor-based CNC, which is kind of neat.
Think of it, so for everybody home, it's basically a Roomba CNC.
That's exactly how to describe it.
It's bigger and bulkier, but that's the premise of it. They actually reached out to me in 2019 and wanted me to do some stuff. But I mean, we just got into tons of discussion. Like we probably had 50 to 100 emails deep, several phone calls and stuff like that. And it ended up just not, going anywhere. But it looks like a cool machine. Never used it. I don't have any affiliation with them.
It looks like it's connected via like a compressor hose. So it looks like it's pneumatic, which is kind of interesting.
I don't know.
So Craig in the live chat, he's all pissed off because we've been ignoring the live chat, but he said it's called the Shaper Trace and it's available June 22nd and it's under $100.
What?
I know.
Are you serious?
That's what
Shaper
Craig said.
Trace.
Craig's a known liar, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They just posted it 18 hours ago from sketch to vector in seconds.
Oh yeah, here it is. I found it now. I find the Kickstarter.
Son of a gun!
I know, it's pretty cool looking. I'm definitely gonna have to get one of these.
Okay. Okay. No, there is no software subscription. It's a one-time purchase.
Wow.
That is nuts.
Can I trace with any device? You can trace with any Apple or Android device with a rear-facing camera and access the app. Oh, wow.
Wait. We should notify that the way that the Kickstarter thing works is you get a substantially discounted rate by like helping fund it. So the actual retail will probably be well over $100.
Right. That's
probably be like $200.
Yeah. But still kind of worth it. Honestly, I was thinking about doing it at 350. So even if it's $200,
And Zach, remember, everything's a write-off, baby.
that's right. That's right.
Oh, real quick, I should address this. My apologies for the last two, maybe 3 episodes about my bad audio.
Oh, Mike Gate.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was listenable, but it was definitely different than it typically is.
Yeah, it was a little echoier, but it wasn't bad.
Right. So when I launched into this StreamYard bad boy, I didn't select my microphone. I just started going, and it was picking up the microphone from my laptop instead of the external mic that's like 3 inches away from my face. So it should be addressed now. But again, still better than the Green Suiters podcast.
Yes, indeed.
So I remember, what was it, about a year ago, you had gotten approached about that Infinity card deal thing, right?
Mm-mm.
I got approached by some ad agency today that I'd never heard of. It was called, like, Obviously is the name of the agency.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Right. But I think it was spelled different.
Yeah.
They reached out and wanted to know if I wanted to do pretty much the same thing as you did. We had like 10 Instagram stories and then like one post for the new version. And I didn't sign an NDA, so I can talk about whatever the hell I want. There's a new version of like the Ford Mustang, like electric SUV thingy.
Oh, that's
cool.
cool.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Mustang Mach-E.
Yeah. There's a new one coming out, and they wanted me to do some promotional stuff for it. So I was like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, do it.
I mean,
tell him to send me my truck while you're talking to him.
Yeah, I'll talk to Ford himself and see what he's doing with that truck. But yeah, it was a very reasonable sum of money. If anything, it was. I was like, I saw the money. I was like, yeah, sure, okay,
yeah, I'll do that. I mean, if it's anything like what I experienced, you'll get a car for like a couple weeks or something. You get to like tool around in it. They pay you at the end of it. I don't know. I like the car jobs.
And I got some trips coming up. I was like, this would be so much fun to take on a trip.
There you go.
And but here's the thing. They send me the link, right? And they're like, you have to sign up for like our like platform thingy to accept it. So I was like, whatever.
Okay.
A lot of these platforms you have to like make an account. But then I make an account, and then I go back to the email and like hit the link to go to like that campaign to sign up for the campaign. 404 error. Like if the page doesn't exist. So then I sign out of my account, click on the link, it opens right up. So something's wrong with their website that I literally can't sign up for the campaign.
Very weird.
So I like emailed the person back and it was just like, I'm interested in this, but your website is not allowing me. I tried it on my other computer. I tried it on Chrome and Safari. Like, what the hell?
Bizarre. I'm surprised. Well, have you heard back from the person?
No, I sent him an email like 2 hours ago, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See what happens. I mean, it's very frustrating. This is the problem with creating your own platform. Like all these companies want to create their own platform in order to, quote unquote, streamline the process of getting content and communicating. Like when I did the Infinity job, I had to do everything through this platform, and it was so much of a hindrance more than a help. Like they were creating custom jobs for me to like break out the content into various pieces. None of it made sense in the end. No. Like, yeah, it was weird, but whatever.
The way they want it to work is almost like some sort of like project management software that like,
yeah, correct.
They can be like, hey, Zach, you owe us an Instagram story by June 30th. And now there's like a trackable event and it'll like send you reminders and stuff. It's just like, you're making it more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah. You could have outlined all of this into an email on the very first like time we started talking, and I would have remembered it all and it would have been fine. You don't need to go and create a custom piece of software for it.
And I'll upload it to Google Drive or Dropbox and send you a link and then we're done.
Exactly. exactly.
But I think it'd be cool. Like, I've never done like a lifestyle, I guess you would say, like promotional thing. And like, my only thing was like, how the hell do I film this?
I had Bryson come out for the day and film me because I was like, I had the same question. I was like, how the hell am I ever gonna manage to get like all the shots that I need for this while driving the car at the same time?
Right. Like I'm not just going to like set up a tripod, like drive past it. Now grab the tripod, move it somewhere else, drive past it. Like I'll just get random and be like, hey, you need to do this. Just take a bunch of random shots.
I tried doing that with Sophie once back in the day, and it was significantly less fun for her than it was for me. Yeah.
Now, what was it just because she's like, I don't want to be video, oh my God, videoing you? Or was it a combination of that and the camera being complicated and difficult? Yeah,
because I have this stupid camera that I love, but to the average person, you pick it up and you're like, there's so many buttons on this thing. What do they all do? It's not just, you can't just point it at something and hit the shutter and it gives you exactly what you want.
Right.
So it was partially that. It was partially like me communicating an idea to her, be like, okay, so I'm going to drive across this bridge and I want you to pan the camera with me as I cross the bridge. And then like when I hit this post here, then you stop filming, and like all these little instructions, I go do it. And I'd be like, it's not quite right. Let's do it again. And like over and over. And I think it was kind of a cold day too. So it just wasn't a lot of fun for her. I
think what I would do is I'd just give her an iPhone. I wouldn't even give her my camera. I'd just been like, you know how to use your iPhone.
Yeah.
We'll just do that. Just take a bunch of footage and I'll chop it up into whatever, and it'll probably do.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's true. It's, and it comes down to, I always kill myself for these like sponsored videos and stuff like that. And it's like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day that much. Like, they're just looking to attach your name to their brand. You don't have to necessarily deliver the best piece of content that was ever produced. Like,
do you think Ford really gives a damn if I color correct my footage?
Exactly. Yeah. They just want people who follow you. I'm assuming this is like an Instagram thing.
Yeah.
They want people who follow you to next time they see a Mach-E on the road, be like, is that the same one that Eric had? I think it is. And just have that kind of like association.
Yeah, they're gonna be
like, Ford sponsors one of my favorite creators.
They'd be like, yeah, that guy is an asshole. I shouldn't buy that car.
Yeah.
That's what they say if it was one of the people from Off the Gut. Or, oh my God, I just insulted Freudian my own podcast.
Freudian slip.
Green Suitors podcast. Speaking of videography, I had a question, and the reason that I bring this up is because every like once or twice a year, I like to build something where I don't film or anything, just like go listen to music. I build something and I have a great time.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that the quality of what you make goes up or down dependent on whether or not you actually film it?
Yeah, I think when I'm filming something, a lot of the time I'm operating on some sort of deadline, either internal or external. And I always hit this point where I'm like, you know what? The finish on the bottom of this table isn't quite perfect. It's good enough for YouTube. And then I just go and I make the video better. And I always tell myself, I'll fix it some other time. I'll come back one day and I'll sand the bottom and redo it. I never do. But if I was building something for myself and I was like, yeah, the finish isn't quite good, I would sand it and redo it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I have this thing where like, if I'm happy with something or the way something goes together, I'll get a real tight shot of it and be like, oh baby, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But if I know something is not going to go together well, I'll film that assembly from across the room.
Yeah.
So you can't see it.
Oh, I've done that a million times before.
Oh. Why are they assembling this table so far away from the camera? It's because it looks like hell. There's a quarter-inch gap between the apron and the leg, but you're
So
not going
true.
to tell from back there.
So true. So true.
But I guess I was building that cat bowl, like the cat bowl stand thing, and just like real quick, and I was like, man, I should. Oh, there's a small swirl mark there, and then I was like, who cares? No one's ever going to see this on the internet. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not making a video of it. Miranda's not going to see it. The cat doesn't know. Like, I don't give a damn. Just be done with it.
It's true. It's true. I had this idea when I first started that, like being a good woodworker was all about perfection and like sweating all these little details and stuff like that. But the more and more I've done of it, I'm just like, you know what? The finish isn't perfect, but it's going to be a table that we're going to put plates and cups on. It's going to get dinged up anyways over time. It's like, it's fine.
Right.
It's all good. Like, it still works as a table, still looks nice. Yeah, if you get a microscope out, you might see that there's some little imperfection in the finish, but who cares?
Right. But you'll be the same as me. We're like, you'll be in there with like looking at this teeny tiny little thing, just like trying to get this. Oh, I can't quite get it sanded. And then like day one, it's inside of your place, and like somebody drops a butter knife on it and dents the hell out of it. You're like, it's a coffee table. It's supposed to be used.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny too. There's a thing that happens when I'm in the shop and I'm looking at something. I'm like, man, I can see all these this little bubble in the finish there. There's a little hair caught in the finish over there. Then you get in your house and all those problem issues or whatever with it just disappear. You don't even see them. I don't know if it's the lighting in my shop or it's just the different context of it being in a home versus a workshop. But I never notice any of those like small imperfections that used to bug me.
No. I've considered getting worse lighting in the garage.
In the garage, yeah.
And I'll be like, it looks great.
Yep. Yeah,
but,
I could,
I
could see that working for sure. But then all your footage would look bad, so it's a trade-off.
Well, what looks worse than it is now. But yeah, I mean, the idea is everyone at home. Zach, we try to make things look nice, but like, relax, just enjoy what you're building. Like,
yeah. I think a lot of the problem for me was that I was thinking, if I'm making something myself, it has to be better than like something that you buy in the store.
It's a pretty low bar.
Well, yes and no. Like, let's give the devil their due. If you go to IKEA and you buy a table, there's probably not going to be any imperfections in the finish. It's going to be made out of like cheap particle board or whatever. But when you look down at it, it's gonna, because it's made in a factory, they batch them out. They've got a clean room that they spray it in or whatever it is, right? There are certain things that are much easier to do at a large scale than they are for the average home DIY enthusiast, whatever you want to call yourself. Yeah,
which is why you don't use film finishes. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's true.
It's terrible.
It's true.
But then, so the top surface, like the veneer might look good, but then if you look at where edges join together, you might see the veneer start to peel up, or like where it got worn through. So if you have a black veneer on the top and then on the edge, now it's brown because it, stuff like that. For sure.
Yeah, all that stuff happens. That's usually like it just being made of cheap materials and not wearing well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I find the quality. Well, I was gonna say I find the quality control for stuff like IKEA to be at least pretty decent. But Sophie bought a dresser like 2 years ago, and the top is just clearly a sheet of laminate over the top of it. There's like a 1 inch wide strip right on the front of the top of it that just has no veneer on it whatsoever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was one of those things where we were like, oh, we should really take this back. And then we got busy, and then 30 days passed, and we didn't take it back, and so now we just live with it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's like,
but
it doesn't really matter.
It's still a dresser, still holds her clothes or whatever the hell she's got in there. It's fine.
Right.
It's all fine.
Right. Well, speaking of just fine and tolerable, we wanted to thank our
notifications on my phone. Sorry.
we wanted to thank our returning top tier patrons.
Yes,
We've
we do.
got Dadu, Luke Schmidt, Derek Jennings at Pecan Tree Designs, who's on vacation, right?
Yeah, he's in Florida, I think.
I believe so.
Catching a tan.
Corey Duvall, Corey, thank you. You've been giving me some helpful tips on my scuba diving.
Yes, and Corey also he messaged me today to explain how the bends work and all about the diving tables and stuff like that. So that's very nice of him.
Yeah, what a gentleman. I've also got Jason Price at Priceless Pro Designs and Scott Eastman at EC's Woodshop. Oh, I got a burp. And of course, the returning. I said returning. Oh my God, I'm stumbling over my words. We got the Power Cocker, formerly known as Wes. So those are all the people that support the show. They help keep the lights on here, and they get access to the after show too. There's
more than that, but they're the top tier patrons. Yeah.
If you want to support the show, get your name read. You can go to patreon.com/offthecutpodcast, get access to the after show, merch, Discord server, get all your questions answered in the after show, all kinds of cool stuff.
Hell yeah.
And our slogan is, when you support us, you're not supporting the Green Suiters podcast. So if that helps sway your decision, there you go.
Every dollar that goes to us does not go to them. That's just a fact of nature.
Every dollar that goes to the Green Suiters podcast, a puppy dies.
That's also a scientific fact.
Yeah, we did actually find the data that shows, in fact,
it's $1 to one puppy. I thought it was going to be like, $10 to one puppy, but it's $1 one puppy. Right. I was pretty surprised.
And they've got people listening to their podcasts over there. They're paying $10, $20, $30 a month.
Wow. So many puppies.
That's a lot of puppies.
Do you think it's all like the same type of dog? Like really cute ones? Or it's like...
It's not ugly ones, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's definitely not ugly ones. It's so sad to think about.
So for all those puppies out there, we sincerely apologize. There's nothing we can do. Only you can stop the Green Suiters podcast. Available on Apple and Spotify. So I had I'm having horrible speech patterns today. I start saying something, then lose track of where I'm going. But
you're basically like me every single day of the week, then, so don't feel too bad.
And people are probably over there at home listening to this, thinking, "Oh man, Monday night at 7:00, they're already going hard on the drinks." No, we're drinking seltzer water like we always are.
Although I was thinking in the after show, I might bust out a drink just to celebrate episode 69.
I'm good with it.
Okay,
I'm good with it. Get a little wild, get a little loose. I'm sure we got plenty of things to discuss.
That's right.
But so how I finished that massive entertainment center media concert thing?
Yes.
And I told you I'm not building anything big for a long time.
Yes.
Well, I'm building something big.
Nice. What are you building?
So my outfeed table I've got like the blue Craig like metal workbench thingy, and then on top of it I've just got a piece of MDF that has an unbelievably thin laminate. It's basically like the thickness of like melamine. That's what a 3,000th of an inch or something.
Yeah, it's like non-existent.
Right.
Only exists in two-dimensional space.
That no longer is non-stick. So stuff sticks to it all the time. It chips off. It's gotten banged up and everything. And I've also come to start to experiment with those like dog hole things. The little holes on the workbench.
Yep.
Because when I was at Festool, I used their workbench thingy that has all the... Yeah, I think so.
The mother effing table.
Right.
That's what I like to think it stands for.
Right. And I was like, man, this is nice to be able to just like take a clamp wherever and just like jam it through the table and like clamp things on.
Yeah.
So then I was like, but what's going to happen is like screws and stuff are going to fall in all these holes and it's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah, fair.
Well, I forget who I saw it from. It might have been Suman, but I could be wrong. They make these little stainless steel, like basically like plugs that go in all those holes so that it's perfectly flush across the surface.
Oh,
And then
how does that work?
They just sit in there. You do like a small chamfer.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yep.
And then whenever you want to like put like a clamp or one of those little other dog hole accessories, I don't know. I'm new to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just take this little magnet and they just come right out.
Huh, that's cool.
So
I like that.
I'm working on basically redoing my whole workbench top, but I'm thinking, I mean, I might as well make it bigger if I got the room. So it's going to be like
always better.
40 inches by like 72 inches. So
That's a good size.
Good size.
Yeah.
The problem is, dude, 3/4 inch MDF is heavy as hell.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And I'm laminating 2 sheets together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be what? It's got to be over 150 pounds.
I just did a door for that house we built, and it was same thing. 2 sheets of 3/4 MDF laminated together. It was 8 feet tall by 3 feet wide, and I swear it was 200 pounds at least.
You had to have had somebody help you carry that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But so not only am I doing that, but then I'm like, I want this to be, pretty robust, hold up. So I'm coating it with what's
one molecule thick finish.
No. The stuff they put in like crappy apartment countertops. Formica.
Formica, yes.
Yeah, I'm coating it with Formica.
Nice.
Which is going to make it really nice, but like
that's what I did on all my tables. It's great.
Has it held up really well?
Dude, I intentionally, like, if I get like paint or anything on it, I take the palm sander and I sand it, and it will only remove the paints or whatever's on the top. It won't even like chip away at the finish. It's great. I love it.
Damn. Okay. So that was my problem with the melamine. It was like, I got a little bit on there and I was like, oh, I'm going to sand it real quick. And I was just like, gone.
CMDF real quick.
I was screwed. Yeah. So how long have you had it on?
3 years now, something like that. 3.5 years. It's like it's obviously got like stains and stuff on it from use, but there's like no bare spots, nothing's bleeding through or anything like that. It's still holding up. No big gouges or anything like that. And I do not take care of it. Like I'm, throw tools on it, throw a hammer on it, throw a chisel on it, whatever. No, and there's like the outside of some like very minor surface scratches and stains, still looks brand new.
So is yours MDF base?
It's been so long I can't. I think it's plywood underneath. I think I use pine plywood.
I wonder which would be more durable. Do you think the MDF would be harder?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think at the time it was just because I was making all the boxes out of plywood. Like the underside of the table is basically just a bunch of cabinets.
Right.
Screwed together, and then the top sits on top of it clearly. So I think I had a bunch of pine plywood from that, and I think I just opted to use those instead. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe the MDF will be a little bit better.
I don't know.
It's tough to know.
But I mean, the Formica is really hard on itself, and it's what, like about a 32nd, maybe a 16 of an inch thick. Like it's fairly thick.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So,
I'd be more worried about stability long term.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, will the MDF? What do you think? Are you going to seal the underside of it? I'm just wondering, like, will the MDF absorb moisture over time and then do like weird stuff?
I don't know if I'm going to have enough Formica to do the bottom of it as well. I did. Right. So I guess I should say 2 sheets of MDF laminated together. Mm-hmm. Then I edge band it, basically put like an inch and a half thick of hard maple around all the edges. so that if you bang into it, like it's going to be pretty rock solid. And then I put Formica all over the edges too.
Okay, cool.
So I know I'm going to have enough Formica for the top, obviously, but for the bottom, do you think just like coat it with like poly or something?
Yeah, or like just even some paint, something just to keep it from wicking up moisture over time. Like it's not
Not a
going to be
bad
that
idea.
big. Like it's not like you're going to spill stuff on it, but I'm thinking you're going to go the most humid day of the summer, and
Right.
I know you have no air conditioning in
Uh-huh.
your shop the same way I do, so it gets humid as all hell in there.
Right.
And then smash cut to December, and it's dry as all hell in there. So that like flipping back and forth between those two extremes, you might see it like start to cup and wobble over time.
Yeah, I mean, you could be completely right.
Yeah. And then also like you're gonna drill all the dog holes, right?
Yes.
And then so that's more points for it to potentially absorb moisture.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Am I going to have to like throw some oil or wax or something inside the dog holes?
Yeah, you might want to.
Hmm.
What are you going to do? So, okay, so you're going to drill a dog hole, then you're going to drop the router in to give it a little chamfer the whole way around.
Yeah.
So, are you going to do the Formica before? I guess you would have to do the Formica before you drill the holes.
Right.
Interesting. And then I wonder, like, is the Formica going to destroy your router bit when you go to chamfer it?
I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. You have to do some tests and see.
Well, if it destroys the bed, I'll just get a new one.
Yeah. But
I mean,
if you
how
have to
much
do
is the
like
chamfer bit? Like $15.
Yeah, but if you had to do like 80 holes and you're only getting like 2 holes out of each bit before it's just garbage.
Yeah. That's true. But the problem is, dealing with something that big is so difficult. Like
Yeah.
in my space, like I don't have an
Yes.
extra workbench to set it on. So like I'll set it on sawhorses and then have to like climb over it to get to the other side of
Yeah.
the garage. And then I'm like, damn it, how do I get this back on the table? Like I can't lift this thing, just
I know.
straight up lift it by myself. I have to
Yeah.
like prop one edge up on something and then prop another and like slide it and like
Get Miranda to come out and help you.
she's working. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to help.
Well, she can give you 15 minutes at the end of the day, maybe.
I know, but you're just like me. You're like, oh, I got this.
Yeah. Oh, I would much rather spend 3 hours coming up with like some custom hoist system than I would bug Sophie to come help me move something.
Absolutely. But I think I'm gonna put. So I have the laminate on the sides. I think tomorrow I'm gonna put the laminate on the top, and then I gotta leave early tomorrow. That's where I think I'm at. But I think once I put the laminate on the top, I no longer need like to be working on two massive surfaces. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yes.
I have my workbench now and then this new workbench top. But then if I want to like trim the laminate, I have to kind of like trim it on the workbench. But if I want to like, yeah, it's a constant juggle of moving things back and forth. And I think once I get the laminate on the top tomorrow, I think the juggling of things will be done.
Does this new one just... No, it can't. I was going to say, does it just sit right on top of the old one, or do you have to remove the old top, put the new one on?
I'll remove the old top.
Yeah. It's too bad. Too bad you couldn't have just put it on top of the existing one.
Oh, damn it. I'm going to have to move it again. Oh, this is killing me. This
Yeah.
is killing me. See, this is why I should not build big things. And I literally just said it. And then here I go making something that's
big.
just as big, if not bigger, than my other project.
Well, that's a powerful lesson for all the kids at home. Never learn from your own mistakes.
Yeah, just keep being an idiot.
I'm gonna be building something big, not tomorrow, but the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making this. How big is it gonna be? 32-foot bench and a 6-foot planter bed for a local high school. Yeah, so that'll be fun. I'm gonna build it in the shop, and then hopefully I'm gonna make it modular, so it's like 10-foot sections.
Okay.
Or it'll be 2 10-foot sections and then one 12-foot section. load them up in my truck, take them to the high school, assemble at the high school, and then get out of there.
Was this, are you doing it for you and your dad's business, or is it for Zach Builds?
It's for Zach Builds. So there's a company, MicroPro Sienna. They make all the brown pressure treated wood. I wonder if they're in the US as well, or if it's just a Canada thing.
MicroPro Sienna.
But yeah, you know that brown pressure treated wood for years. Okay, for people listening at home, for years, pressure treated wood used to be green and it was hideous. And then this one company, MicroPro Sienna, as far as I know, they came along. They're like, hey, what about if we used a brown dye instead of a green dye? And so they started making all this pressure treated wood that actually looks good. So yeah, they make outdoor wood. So that's the whole thing. They wanted me to do something nice for the community. So I was like, oh yeah, I got a contact at one of the local high schools. And so my plan is to make these benches in the planner. I'm going to drop them off, but I'm also going to make a set of plans for the kids in the shop class so that they can make more. So they have these big outdoor courtyards with nothing in them. There's just like these blank concrete spaces. So it's like, let's, make this space a little bit nicer and yeah, get the kids something to look forward to next year.
You thought about reaching out to DeWalt to see if they would partner with you and donate a bunch of tools?
Yes, I have, and I think that's something I'm going to look to do. It was kind of a rush to get this piece together for the end of the school year, but I'm going to go back hopefully in September, give them a bunch of wood as well as the plans to make the benches, and then I'll see if I can get DeWalt in to help out at that point.
Yeah, even if they were able to just donate some drills, drivers, or like a miter saw or something like.
Exactly.
And it'd be a great fit for them. It'd be a good look for you on the channel. It'd be a win for everybody.
100%.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
So how are you going to make them modular? Is it basically just going to kind of screw them together or whatnot?
Yeah, so I'm thinking to make it like the way I have it designed is there's these frames that go like every 16 inches, and then you basically just clad the frames.
Okay.
So depending on how long you want the bench to be, you just add more frames.
Oh.
If you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want a 10-foot bench. Okay, you make 5 frames and then you put the boards on top and you're good to go. If you want a 20-foot one, okay, well then you make 10 frames and then put the boards on top. So
are you going to finish them, or are you going to be a pro and just let them do the wood thing?
I'm just going to let them do the wood thing because that's part of the sell of the MicroPro is that you don't need to treat it. It's just like it comes from the factory treated for outdoor use.
Now, did MicroPro donate the lumber?
Yeah. They're arranging to have like a pallet of lumber dropped off to my shop on Wednesday.
Because I bet that'd be $2,000 to $5,000 worth of lumber.
It's probably about $2,000 worth. Yeah. So these, it's it's a nice thing. It's it's going to local school. It's like a PR piece for them. I think
it's a win for everybody. Like nobody is getting screwed on this one. Like
exactly
makes you look good. I'm sure. Are they? I mean, they'll probably give you some sort of like tax deductible receipt or something.
I wonder. I mean, I'm not really like, I'm not footing any expenses here. So
right.
Yeah, the brand is going to pay me to build it. They're providing the lumber. They're also paying for Bryson to come out and shoot it and edit all the content too. So it's a nice little, fairly hands-off project for me. I just show up, build the thing, offer some tips along the way.
So I think it'll be funny when you put this, or not funny, interesting. When you put this video out on you, I'm assuming you're doing a YouTube video.
Oh, no. So it's actually just going to be Instagram.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a bunch of reels. They want to get like 5 or 6 reels from it. I was like, I'm going to be building this for 2 or 3 days. You'll get your reels out of it. Don't worry.
Right. I was going to say it'd be interesting to see how the YouTube audience would react to something different than what you've been showing the past year or so.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason why I was like, I pushed it more towards Instagram. I don't know if I could make it interesting enough for like a full YouTube video.
Because it
We'll
doesn't
see.
have kind of like the tech spin on it that a lot of your stuff typically does have.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not even really fine woodworking so much because it's going to be like an outdoor bench. It's kind of the whole idea is that it's, it's an outdoor project. So it's going to be a little bit more durable. It's going to be more aimed towards simple and easy
Right.
to recreate than, ooh, look how tight this miter is.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
you design it intentionally with gaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You account for wood movement in
Right.
your design when you make something like this.
Like it's going to warp. It's going to bow over time. Like it's just what
Exactly.
happens. Like
Exactly.
you can't make
Exactly.
these things absolutely bulletproof.
There's no point.
No point at all. What time are we at? I feel like I got some other topics, but they might take too long. We might be better suited to go on the after show.
We're just rolling up on an hour right now, so we might be at like 59 minutes. If you wanted to do a quick one, we could probably squeeze it in. But
Well, I should say, finally bit the bullet and hired a full-time bookkeeper.
Nice.
So what I had been doing prior was basically using like QuickBooks, and then would have to do all my stuff. And at the end of the year, I just like meet with an accountant, and they'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna do this, this, and this."
That's what I do too.
Well, and it's great. There's no problems with that. But I found myself like spending so much time or like being very uncertain. Like, is this like, can I write this off? Is this expense? Like, what would be a good tax strategy? Should I be an LLC? Should I do this? I had just so many questions. What about sales tax? What about this? What about this? And I was like, I make enough money doing this now that I owe it to myself to just basically hire it out. Just I don't touch it.
Yeah.
And oh my God, dude, I cannot wait. We've been doing a lot of onboarding stuff now, and they ask so many questions like, what about this? What about this? What about this? Have you thought about doing this? And I was like, no. And they're like, oh yeah, you definitely want to be doing that. And I'm like,
well, there you go.
God, this is scary.
Well, I mean, that's what they're there for, right? Like that's, I mean, if you had been doing everything perfectly, you'd be like, what do I need this person for?
Right.
The reason you hire them is because they're better than you are at it. Not only are they faster, but they're also going to, hopefully make your business run better.
Yeah. And so we're going to have like a couple like meetings a year where we discuss like strategy and like, all this kind of just financial tax preparation stuff like that. That's like not super exciting to me, but
I kind of dig the tax stuff sometimes. It's kind of fun to geek out on like how you can optimize your business.
Yeah, I just like to know that now I'm okay. Like, and if I'm like, hey, I want to hire an employee, like I wouldn't know where to begin with that.
Yeah,
like, financially. I can just be like, hey, let's talk about it. And they'd be like, okay, we're going to set you up. We're going to do this. We're going to do this here. We can do like a payroll thing. We can do all this stuff. I'm like, I feel so much more at ease with it.
The best part about having a bookkeeper too is that if the IRS ever comes knocking, just be like, he did it. Take him to jail. Plausible deniability.
I think they say that they like will represent you, but it's not like 100% just their liability.
That's not how I feel about the situation.
That's not Zach law.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very similar to bird law.
Yeah,
I am fluent in bird law. Well, I think we ought to fly over to the after show. Speaking of birds,
all right.
We got a bunch of questions, but as everybody, oh my gosh, as we always say, everybody, we appreciate all the support. The best thing that you can do for the podcast is send us truckloads of money. Outside of that, second best thing you can do is just tell people about the podcast. We don't grow unless you tell other people. That's the reality.
Yeah. And the third best thing you could do is try and sewer all the other woodworking podcasts. So if you could go like leave some negative reviews, it would just help us out. We would, by comparison, we would look better. Or what's the term that people say? I don't know. In comparison to them, we would look better if they look worse.
Right. It's I know what you're getting at. I can't think of the term though.
And we're both bad with words this week.
Right. We're struggling, but not struggling as much as the Green Suitors podcast.
Correct.
Oh, can you hit me with that?
Oh yeah. Hold on. Give me a second here. There it is.
And on that note, everybody, we appreciate you listening to episodes. We didn't even get any 69 jokes.
Yeah, we got a couple at the beginning, I think, but not nearly enough.
Try to get a little more clever in the after show.
Okay, yeah. It's good commitment.
This is disappointing. All right, well, we will see you next week for another disappointing episode of Off the Cut Podcast.
See you, everybody.